Okay, hi everyone. My name is Anne and I'm in the group with Daniel and Edison. And our topic is a fantastic journey to American culture, because in our lessons we include a lot of American cultures, and we divide the culture into 5 parts, yes. And I will start with my students' background. Okay, I come from a very rural area in the west coast of Taiwan, and it's inland. And where I'm from is really a remote area, and we only have 6 classes in our school. So we have 2 English teachers, and I'm one English teacher who need to in charge of like 3 classes of students. And my students are 9th graders now, and for the club lesson, I use 1 class of 9th grader, and there are 28 of them. But because my students are in a rural area, so it's actually, they are not good at academic performance, but they are really active and eager to learn. But there is no actual need for English using for them in the daily life, because they have no contact with actual foreigners. They just learn English from the textbook, yes. And so they are lack of the learning motivation, because there's no need for them to learn English, yeah. And so there's only exam or textbook for them to learn English. So some of them may give up on learning English because they are junior high school students, and so it's hard for them to get the environment to learn English. And in this project, I focus on graphic organizers, and I include graphic organizers in every club lessons. And this is the strategy I learned from GLAD strategy. We learned this when we are in WW, yes, and it's really useful because we can help students to generate new ideas and connect every part into a whole pictures together. So, and the reason I use the graphic organizer is to help students to organize the information they learn and to understand the information. And also, I hope through this graphic organizer they can continue to do this for their self-learning, yes. And so the first part of our lesson is self-introduction. And in the first lesson, Daniel introduced himself and do some question answer. And then in the second lesson, I have students do a little worksheet like this. And I met them to write down some information of themselves. And before the club lesson, they meet with Daniel. I have them to, each one of them need to make a poster like this, including the information like how old are they, and also what's their hobby, and maybe use some words to describe themselves. So this is Jenny's poster, and it helps them to visualize the thing they are going to say in the club lesson with Daniel. And this is students' work. Like Wanda, she likes watching anime, and there are 8 people in her family, yeah. So these are boys and girls' work, okay. And I really like this one. She's not quite able to speak English very well, but she writes it very well with the pictures and drawings, yes. And the next one, next topic we include in the club lesson is American Geography. And this is the lesson all 3 of us designed when we were in WW. Yes, and in this lesson, in the first lesson, we introduced the ethnic name of 8 states representing the United States. We think it represents the United States. And also some famous things. Like, so we designed a worksheet like this and have students to put down the state's name and also the nickname for the state, and also what's the state famous for, yes. And so the worksheet will Then we have students do a little homework, because we introduce the state's name and nickname, and also we introduce the flag of each state. So we have students do a homework like think of their own hometown, relate to their hometown. Think of what's your village, and where is your village, and think of a nickname of your village. This is they need to be creative with this one. So let's take a look at students' work. Like because our school is near the sea, so they say, oh, village is the sea village. Or this student come from a town called Yangchou, so it's Yang is goat. So he say, my village is a goat village. And this is farmer's village because there are a lot of farmers there. And also he this is a boy's work, and he creates a village flag with the farmer and also the national flag on it. Okay, and this is because our school is Feisha and Sa is sand. So she say, her village is sand village. Yes, and we have a student who live in Beigang, and Beigang is famous for temple, Chaotiangong. So she say, my village is the temple village. Okay, and then I adjust a little bit of our original worksheet. I made students to make a poster because in our textbook there's a reading about postcard. So the postcard looks like this, and I reorganize it, like tell them what's the element in the postcard, and try to guide them to write a postcard to Daniel. So these are their works, like they include some information like introduce their hometown and the name. And this boy is really interesting. He always like to say he's a handsome, very handsome. So include this part. He thinks it's really important to let Daniel know he's really handsome. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So these are the actual postcard they made. So and they actually draw it by themselves and design it by themselves. Okay. So the next one, we are going to the music topic. And in this topic, we designed some genres. First lesson, we introduced some music genre, and then we move on to musical instrument and introduce the saying, how to say people who play that kind of music instrument. Okay, so these are the worksheets. There are many kinds of music we introduce, and when Daniel played the music, we asked students to think, how does the music make you feel? So the student note down the feeling when they feel the music. Okay, and this is the worksheet for musical instruments. And so because my student, most of my students, class students can play musical instrument because our school developed the music band. So it's really related to their life. So they are really interested in this topic. Okay, and then in the activity we do the charade. So the students will play the drum. So the other student need to say he is playing the drum. He's a drummer. Yes, and I made them to compete with Daniel. So when student get a mark, I will mark 1 point. When Daniel get a mark, I mark 1 point. And in the end, the student wins, so they got prizes. They are very happy with that. Okay, and so these are the pictures. They are playing the charade. Okay, and the next one we're introducing the American food, and this is a very popular topic for students because they like to eat. Yes, and for this part, we related our content to the 8 states we learned in the geography lesson. And in this lesson, we introduced 2 famous food, must-try food from 8 states. Okay, and students need to guess when they saw the picture of the food. They need to guess how does it taste and what is it made of? What's the ingredient inside of the food? Okay, So this is the lesson, and then we play the flies water at the same time. Okay. And this is students' work. I made them to do a web when they are taking Daniel's lesson, and they will have the middle, the topic, and then draw a line to every state. And I have printed out a picture for them so they can stick on it and take notes of what's the ingredient they guess and how does it taste. Okay, so these are students' work. Okay, and this is really deliberate. This is organized. Okay, and then this is actual activity because in our textbook we introduced some ordering meal dialogue. Okay, so I combine these two together to use the food they learned in the core lesson and create a dialogue of ordering meals. Okay, so this is our students' work. And then we move to the sports. And basketball is really famous in Taiwan and in USA. So we introduced some basketball items and basketball terms for students to act out. So this is the word they will learn in this lesson. And this is the classroom. And each group got one basketball to act out the skill they are going to learn for the basketball. So they're taking notes at the same time. And they are really happy with this lesson because they got to act out. Yeah. And when Daniel comes to Taiwan, I plan 2 lessons. The first one is Taiwanese breakfast, to introduce Taiwanese breakfast because it's really unique. Okay, so first we do a matching game. First, students match the Chinese with the English. They know the Chinese, but they don't know the English, so they need to guess. Okay, and then they help Daniel to match the picture with the English together. And we are making a poster. So this is the scene that Daniel actually guessed what's the picture for each one of the food. And students help him to do that. And then students are making posters. Okay. So when the next lesson, students got the actual breakfast to introduce to Daniel. And the poster, I have them in the room, in the 509. And in the poster, they write down what's the name of the food, and also what's the price for it, and how does it taste, and what's the ingredient, and write a little introduction of the food. Okay, and this is all the posters students made with Daniel. Yeah. And then when Daniel come here, we plan to actually do the Christmas lesson together. Okay, so the content include Christmas vocabulary and a little reading article. And we play the matching game, fast water, and spelling game together. And so this is students reading, and that's the spelling game. Okay, and in the end, Daniel did an extra activity. He taught students to speak Christmas, Merry Christmas in Spanish, Feliz Navidad. Okay, and he actually played the song for students. So when we play the Bye Bye Party musical chair, we play the song. Students can sing the song together. So it's actually fun for all students to get engaged. And in the end of the lesson, we create a Christmas wishing tree together. I had students to cut out their hand together and pass together to make it like a Christmas tree, and they can write down the thing they wish for the next year, or some words for Daniel. Okay, so, and the final part is for our inquiry project. Okay, for this part, I want to actually motivate my students to make them comfortable to use English in the cloud project. And also I want my students to use more English in the cloud lesson. So let's see how they do in this lesson. First, I made a feedback sheet for my students, include 5 questions like Do they like the lesson, or is it too difficult? Is it interesting? And are they able to use more English in the class lesson? And I made a measurement, and you can see students are really interested in the topic we choose for them. And also, some of them wrote they are gradually feeling comfortable with using English in the class lesson. Yes. And these are the feedbacks I get from my students who write. Okay. And some of them say they like music topic because they can actually play the musical instrument themselves. So it's really related to themselves. And these are all the feedback. Like this one say, the students say they are really grateful for Daniel to come here and teach them to so much American cultures. Yes. And about this wonderful journey, I think it's really helpful, and it changed my mindset for English teaching, because from the textbook, students cannot actually get what's the meaning for learning English, but through this program, students can actually use English they learn. Yes, they actually use it. So it's really changed. And also I got the passion for continuing to teach for the future. And I get how to plan the lesson more interesting at the same time, and also make them learn at the same time. And these are all students' smiles it motivate me to keep doing this. Okay. And in the end, I'm just grateful for this opportunity to get into the program and work with Daniel and Edison at the same time. And just keep learning and doing. Okay. And this is all for my sharing. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Edison from瑞芳国中-High School, and I share the same topic, a fantastic journey to American culture. So this is my outline. First, I will introduce an app. The app is called, I think most of you are familiar with this kind of online app. And we will describe the reflection on the cloud lessons, the final one's the result of my teacher English project. And Kalku is a classroom response system. Teachers can create and engage a learning space through a game-based digital playground. I think most students like to play online games on the website or on their cell phone. So I think this kind of app is very useful for student and teacher to learn English, especially in vocabulary. I use this app for PE students, and they like the app very much. They are active in learning English in the classroom. And also it provides instant feedback. So layout to entrance to this website. The first link is teacher's link, and the other is student's link. So I will just show the website for you. In this page, you can create an account, so you can design many questions, including pictures and small quiz or survey for teacher to collect data and create a quiz for students to practice. And this page is for students who need to key in the PIN code in the blank. So we were going to play a game, use this app. So now you can take out your cell phone and key in the number, give your number. So everyone, you can take out your cell phone. You can use your cell phone, public. Okay, take out your cell phone and hit kahoot.it. Okay, Vivi is in. No sound. If you find a student key in the name that is not in the profile, you can delete. I think all the names are good. Okay? Is everyone in? Sure, let's start again. Okay. Ready? Go. Start. Okay, there are 5 questions in this quiz. Okay, the first one. Who isn't in the photo? Okay, Kevin is in the photo. Okay, Anne is here, Daniel and I. So the quiz can provide instant feedback for students and teachers. Okay. Okay, question 2. So, Sammy, where you are? Sammy, you are the best. Next. Where are we? Okay, we are in瑞芳国中-High School, not NTNU. I missed the photo, not here. Okay, the next one. Oh, 11, where are you, 11? Okay. Okay, the third one is, what's the building behind us? This is MOE-NTNU house, the most famous building in Jiufen. And this is Jiufen Base House, and Senping Theater, Senping 戏院, and Hodong Cafe Leach. So 11 is the champion so far. Okay. Next, what is Daniel doing? Okay, he's dancing, he's sleeping. Who chose this answer? Okay, the final one. Okay, 11 is still the champion so far. Okay, how many people are there in the photo? Okay, 31. I have 28 students in my class, and Daniel and Laura and I, the extra 3 persons. So in total is 31. So you will know the champion is 11 because she is from瑞芳.
Used to be.
Used to be. Okay.
Was from瑞芳.
So is this game funny or interesting? Yes, I think students like this kind of app, and so do the teachers. Okay, you may see these results. You record some results. You can see this page. Okay, one round wrong. No? No, because we don't have time. But you can create your own. Okay, and now I will introduce my class lessons. I think Anne has introduced most of them, so I just quickly go through these worksheets I did in my class. So this is my school. We have a river and mountains around us, and my school is a semi-shaped architecture, and we also have the rainbow track and colorful building. Welcome to our school and take picture and sending you your Instagram or Facebook. And as for my students, they are ninth graders. We have 1 students in my class. Their English proficiency is average level, and I use cooperative learning since they were 7th graders, so they were cooperative with each other in many subjects. And also, they had taken the foreign teachers class for 2 semesters, but now we don't have any foreign teacher in our school. So this is the reason why I applied this project, because Daniel will teach English with my students. Okay, so we use means content language integrated learning. We teach these subjects in English, so we divide out our lesson into 5 topics: geography, music, food, sports, and festivals. So I use gallery work and second objects, car sorting, and fly sweater, and Simon Says in my class lessons. So this is the geography lesson. You can see student the drawing. We use this map to let students know the 6 regions in America and the 8 states in America. And also we design a village flag. So because our school is in Ruifang, the most famous food is longfeng tui. If you come to Ruifang, you can give it a try. It's very fancy, just like some tempura and some fish meat and chicken meat. It is really hard for me to describe, but you come to you can give it a try. You will know the texture and the smell and the feeling. Okay. So students are doing the 10-second instrument. You can guess what are they doing? What kind of instrument they are doing? Drums. They are at the drums, and this is students' reflections. The student said that he know many instruments through teacher Daniel's teaching, and also he knows how to form the player who play this instrument. For example, the piano. He know to add the suffix "ist" to form the people who plays the piano, means pianist. Yes, you know the correct pronunciation through Daniel's teaching. And then next one is the car sorting. We let students to guess what kind of food belongs to each state. So students, they in the first part they just guess the answer, but in the second round they know how to analyze, to apply the knowledge they learned in the first lesson. And finally, one of my students, one of the group got the full score of 8 pictures because they know how to analyze. Just like in New York, they think people in New York will eat some very expensive food, and New York is beside the sea. So they will guess seafood is one of the most famous food in New York. So they got a full score in this activity. They are very happy because they know how to integrate the knowledge they learned in this worksheet. And this is fly sweaters, and has introduced it. And this is Simon said, and this is the student's reaction. She said that he saw a student through an air ball, and she directly said air ball. So he learned the lesson in the morning and used the now teacher Daniel teach in the afternoon. So I think the MBA lesson is very useful for the student who like to play basketball. And the final one is my teacher English project. So why does this concern me? Is because I think content-based instruction is very important for some of the students. So because my students are ninth grader, I think they can learn more from this cloud lesson. So this is the reason why I choose to use content-based instruction in the cloud lesson. And also I want my students to experience the culture of the USA. And this is my research questions is, which subject is the easiest and which subject is the hardest. So just go through, you can read the sentence by yourself because the time limitation. Okay. So for the first question, a student said that the sports is the easiest because they like to exercise. And geography is the hardest because we teach geography in English. They need to know many unfamiliar words in geography, so they think this part the most difficult. And for which is the hardest, they think the music is the hardest because we teach some different music genres and different instruments, just like orchestra. All the teachers may unfamiliar with this kind of instruments. And this question is, will my students struggle with this subject which are taught in English? The answer is yes. Because there are too many new words they don't know. So they need to memorize these words in just 45 minutes. And after that, they sometimes forget or just remember some basic words. And they think the word pronunciation they are not familiar with. And they can understand what the teacher provides. This kind of problem. And how much my students learn from content-based instructions? So they think this cloud lesson help them to learn the school subject. They think it is very helpful. And I also give them a test in English. I design a geography test, but the items and the questions are all in English. They are very surprised about the test paper because they haven't taken this kind of test paper, and all questions are written in English. So they try to answer the questions, but so you can see the performance. All the students, there are 11 students, their score are over 80, and 4 students got the full points, $100, 100 points in this test. So I think they work very hard to help me and help Daniel to achieve this kind of task. Okay, so how can the cloud partner and I make the lesson easy for my students to learn? They think that we can provide more pictures and play more games and use repetition to instruct the lessons. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edison, and let's now welcome Daniel.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel, or Teacher Daniel as I've been called a few times here. So I just wanted to share my experiences throughout the program and just share some pictures for you. So I'm just going to have a few slides and just make some comments and describe my experience. So here's my beautiful view from my hotel in Rayfall, thanks to Edison, he's a master planner. Okay, so here's the first online meeting. I want to give some background for that. So I was just earlier that month asked by Chiron, who we already talked about, to join the program, and I was a little bit hesitant. I was really excited about the experience, and I always wanted to be able to go to Taiwan eventually, and it had been on my radar for teaching, but it's not something that I felt like prepared to do. So I was a little nervous in the first meeting, but all of the kids are so like gentle and kind, and the response was actually really good, and I was just obviously smiling the whole time. And I think that that really helped the students as well, put them at ease. So the first meeting, like Anne already showed you, we just introduced ourselves, and I got to share with them a little bit about my experience in school and how it led to that day, and they shared their posters with me, so it was really great. So meeting the teachers for the first time, I also had been in contact with them online, but I was also very nervous to meet like professional teachers from Taiwan, and but they came and they were so sweet, and I took them around to different places, and they were very thankful, and we got to go to some of the workshops together, and it was like a very valuable experience to be able to communicate with them and talk about the lessons and talk about the students that I would teach online, and it really helped put my mind at ease. So we went around and took a bunch of photos all over Bellingham, and it was really nice to be able to talk about our cultural differences and the differences between our towns, differences between our schools. I thought that that would be important to put into the lessons. We needed to talk about where I come from and how that's important, and how we can share that with the students in Taiwan. So we planned a lot of the first lesson in Bellingham, but of course we had to refuel, every once in a while. A lot of effort went into just sharing a culture and talking about how we would present the classes to the students. So we wanted to share about food, geography, music, sports, and our different festivals or different holidays. And so in order for us to do that, I felt like I had to share a little bit of that with the teachers. So we did a lot of eating out and going around. So the first online lessons, we had planned this one in Bellingham already. We tested it, and it was really amazing. The experience and the feedback that I got from it was invaluable. The students seemed to be really happy, and they responded to it well. I learned so much from that first one, because there were some things that I needed to tweak and change, and it was a format that I was not so used to teaching online, and I have a little bit of advice about how to make that better in the future, and things that I wish I would have done. So, firstly, I have taught other classes through the TESOL program, and I got to know the students quite well, and it usually didn't take more than like a week to get to know them, to learn their names and be able to call on them. But I really didn't have that opportunity to see all the students and to be able to call them by their names, because there was like sort of a disconnect, and I really wish I would have just like memorized the student list, or been able to direct my partner teachers to help me call on their names and just refer to a list. And I think that would have really helped me create a more fluid lesson. But other than that, I think that we did the best that we could with the format that we were provided, and it was a really amazing experience. First meeting in Taiwan, at last. It was so amazing. Here I was over in Yunlin with Anne and Lydia, one of the students, and Erica, one of the teachers at Feisha. I was so emotional. I've been waiting for this experience for so long, and you guys are so hospitable. You just welcome everyone in, and I got to try all the food and took me around to all the different shops, and we talked to the owner of I guess it was a bed and breakfast or like a B&B type thing, and he was so nice. He was like, you just, try anything, come down, eat this, eat all these noodles, try my tea, it's okay, everything is okay. And same thing with Reifang. When I first got to Reifang, they took me out to hot pot and they showed me how to do it because I'd never had hot pot before. And the two students there, Vicky and Jenny, were so excited and nervous, I think, to meet me, but their English was so good, and it was a great experience to finally meet my students, meet the teachers in their own country. Teaching face-to-face. So I was initially nervous about this, but the students really put my mind at ease because I knew that it was going to be a completely different experience from teaching online. And teaching face-to-face was something that I'd never done with these students, but we still had this relationship of teaching online, so I wasn't sure how it was going to transfer over. But it was really great, and I have to just thank my partner, my co-teachers here, because they did a really excellent job. Let's give them a round of applause. You guys are so amazing. You just, I wouldn't be able to do it without you guys, because you make everything so seamless, and yeah, it is just amazing. I got to teach my lessons, and you guys prepared everything for me. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to stand up front and teach my lesson, and everything else was taken care of. You made the copies, you handed out everything, and I was like, okay. Joining in. So if there's anything that I can take home from this whole experience, is that it's really important to join in the activities and get out of your comfort zone a little bit or a lot. And I don't think that I would have had the same experience had I not met the people that I met, had I not talked to the students and actually interacted with them. Just like the students were singing in the English singing competition that I was a judge for. Try everything. Yeah. And I really do believe that it's important to try everything here, otherwise you can't truly experience the culture, the people, the school system. Dealing with celebrity status. So I was shocked by how many people knew my name here, and walked up to me and just started giving me food, giving me gifts, and I'm like, hi, who are you? But it's just such a wonderful experience. I can't stress that enough. Time is up. Okay. Saying goodbye is the saddest part, and I just want to share with that. Nothing prepares you for that. And final thoughts, I want to come back and teach in Taiwan.